This is Lusk, North County Dublin. Probably one of the most important bits in North County Dublin, if you go back 15 or 1600 years. In fact, it was out of Lusk that Cuchulainn picked up his lovely bride, Emer, and carried her off down to wherever he lived. Since that, we have no scarcity of beautiful women, I'll grant you that, but most of them stayed home in the meantime to breed the beautiful breed that we still have. It's an ecclesiastical place mainly. Huge amount of monastery work and churches and cells and everything that's attached to monks, priests, clergy of every description. Nunneries by the new time. And a nice little bit of architecture behind me. You see those ungainly stones soaring up into the sky to look as they do. I think it's worth having a look at that. The Heritage Group goes back 1989, Pat.
Yeah.
It's going from strength to strength. It grew out of a little organisation called the Old Fingal Society. The Old Fingal Society more or less broke up into individual local groups after that. And Pat Kelly here beside me was naturally the engine that drove the Lusk Heritage Group and has continued to drive it very, very successfully in the meantime. We've made numerous videos. We've sponsored a couple of books. We're always wide awake to the sort of heritage we have.
Well, I had great respect for Willie Monks. Willie Monks was the local historian, and Willie had a wealth of information. And when Willie passed on, there was nothing here to record what should be recorded as regards interviewing our senior citizens and recording things for the future. And I just felt it was very important that a group got together, and I was very lucky in getting Jim, Monks, Aidan, Arnold, Paddy Weston, and we decided to do our first videos, The Story of Lusk, which we interviewed a lot of our senior citizens, and they gave them their memories of times past. And we've done lots of things since that, not only videos, but we did the restoration of the Eklund tomb. We've done exhibition to Thomas Ashe, where we planted a tree and a plaque in the local GAA. We also have done a leaflet for tourists, and we're going from strength to strength, as Jim says.
Mm. The Eklund family are long, long gone and hopefully not forgotten. Originally they came from County Down and they settled in Rush, just over the road, the neighbours, whom we all hate most of the time. But they did settle down there in Kinure Estate. It was James Butler, the Earl of Ormond, actually, who owned Kinure up to that point. The Ormonds are a very, very important family within the country. I mean, one of the two most important families in the country during Norman times. And the Eklund family stayed there for quite some time. The daughter of Sir Robert Eklund, who's buried here, married Frances Palmer, who came from Palmerstown in County Mayo. And the Palmers lived in Rush, in Kinure Park, until 1964, when the big house, the fantastic residence that was designed there, fell into disrepair. And eventually it was demolished apart from the portico, which is still over there. Very serious bit of architecture involved in that. But it just shows how families rise to great power and disappear, and very often little is left apart from a headstone or a tomb. Bear that in mind for the future.
These are all new windows which have been replaced by the council, which are absolutely fabulous. You have St. McCullen, you have St. Patrick, and what's this one in the middle there, Jim?
That's the bus.
That's the bus, Christ. And it's absolutely fabulous job, fabulous.
Now, there's money out there. Irish people have discovered that they have a very rich heritage. The stuff that exists in Fingal and in the whole island is unique. You won't find the like of it anywhere. Now that the money is there to show that off, to put up the interpretive centres that have been put up in various parts of the country, it's a fantastic reflection. It's great that enthusiastic amateurs like ourselves can see results, can see things happening, and can see money being wisely spent, and maybe we get a little opportunity to point them in the right direction.
When was the last, do you know, the last service that would have been held here?
I'd say in late 1950s.
Oh, was it gone about that far?
Yeah.
So it's been in disuse since then?
Well, it was. They had Irish dancing classes. It was sort of the community took it over, and there was Irish dancing, and
There was a billiard hall.
there was billiard hall
Oh
here.
my
Laddie
goodness.
Dion did a lot of work in
Really?
repairing the church. Laddie used it as sort of a youth club as well, but it then turned into a museum in 1982, and it was named after Willie Monks, the historian.
That must have been nice, Jim, to have, the factory named after a member of the family.
It was, yeah.
A very proud thing, it's been
There was a great, I suppose, a certain honour in it. The funny point about it is when you're growing up with somebody or close to them, you don't appreciate how they're honoured and seen in the community. You just see them as a pain an awful lot of the time. Unfortunately, I spent my youth dodging this man. He was going around measuring runes, and I wanted to be anywhere apart from the other end of the tape.
What were the things that surprised you, the information that you didn't know? Can you remember anything, that little piece of information that you say, wow, I didn't realise that?
Well, I think maybe, to me, the archaeological digs that have been done here in Lusk, since the developers have moved in, the last 5 years, Lusk has gone from a village now, I would say, to we're heading for a town. We've had 3-4 new developers moved in, and since moving into the area, they've had to have archaeological digs. And the ring road up there, which we have named it as the Rathmore Road, there's been such a wealth of information. And also the archaeological dig that was done there at Train Hill there recently, where they found skeletons, which nobody knew was there. So this is all coming about now since the development.
Great success, sound right?
Yeah.
Modern technology meets
Yeah.
ancient science.
Yes.
Any one piece of information that came to light in these years for you, Jim, that's...
And the funny point about it is
Yeah.
that what I discovered recently was the amazing amount of stuff that people did know in the area that I hadn't found out. People who are, we'll say, past retirement stage at this stage, senior citizens, several of them have made their own recordings or even written down their experiences and have produced them to me in the recent past. And fascinating treasure in there altogether, in the notes and the diaries and the odds and ends that they have. This would be the sort of history now that's within living memory, about which we don't put that much pass, really. But fantastic information.
In Lusk today, you have quite a lot of, you've got a larger population than you probably haven't had since pre-famine times. A lot of people coming into the area that wouldn't have any connection to the area. What were the kind of things that you'd like to tell them about where they live now? What were the things that you'd love to get hold of them and say, did you know?
Well, the did you know bit is the difficult part. Little hot points like the fact that there was 2 breweries within the town once upon a time. There was a nunnery which moved forward and back from here to Grace Dew over the road. The breweries being the important bit. The breweries obviously moved around with the nunneries, and I'm not saying one thing about nuns, but where you find a nunnery, you're going to find a brewery very close by. And in fact, the Reverend Mother of the abbey or nunnery was entitled to a sample of the first brew of every brew that was made. I'm sure things haven't changed. All in all, it looked like enormous amounts of building. All those stones, some of them I'd imagine are 70 or 80 kilos weight. And to get them off the ground with little enough equipment, block and tackle. But as I said, once upon a time, it looks so graceful to be made out of such ungainly material. And it's only now that people are looking for a past. Even every child demands to have a past, just the same as every senior citizen hopes to have a future.